This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, fine. I hope is it visible to you all. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's continue the session. So in this training session, actually, so we are going to learn that Azure. So here we are going to see that one Azure Data Engineering, Azure Data Engineer. So here the Azure Data Engineer. In this Azure Data Engineer role, what are the tools, actually, the resources we are going to learn now? Primarily, we are going to learn about that one Azure Data Factory and Azure Data Bricks, and the storage is part Azure Blob Storage and Azure Data Lake Storage and Azure SQL Database and other resources. The other resources we are going to learn that one Azure Logic Apps and one more Azure Key Vault. Somewhat we are going to use that Azure Synapse, and we are going to learn about that one how to connect that our AWS S3 from that Azure and Azure to AWS 3, so vice versa. So how we can move the data and how we can connect with that Azure to Snowflake. Snowflake is one of the data warehouse. Snowflake is one of the data warehouse. So the Azure to Azure Snowflake, how we can connect, actually. How we can use that REST API in Azure Data Factory. How we can use the REST API in that Azure Data Factory. So how we can copy the data to the Cosmos DB. To the Cosmos DB. Cosmos DB is NoSQL database. How we can copy the data into that our Cosmos DB using Azure Data Factory in ADF, Azure Data Factory. So the same things. So we will have that, but all it will not be covered. All the things again, it will not be covered in that Databricks. But the Databricks, we will see that one. All the Python concept, actually, we will learn it first. When you are learning the Databricks, we will learn the Python. Then we will learn that our PySpark concepts. PySpark. So these all are Databricks related. PySpark concepts. In the PySpark, we will learn that PySpark SQL, actually. Spark SQL, we will use it. Spark SQL concept, we will learn it. So Spark functions features, we will learn it. User defined function and system functions, we will use it. And then we will learn that our mount features, mount concept. So community version, we will use it. and then mount concept in Azure Data Factory. Community version is the direct data factory. The mount concept in that Azure Databricks. The Azure Databricks. So like this, we are going to cover that the primary part, whatever we should know to work in the Azure platform as an Azure data engineer. Actually, these are the content. Actually, is a high level content. Actually, these are the part we will cover in the depth level. From the scratch to depth level, we are going to learn in this training. So we will see that one live projects. So surely we will see that one project, and based on that our time availability, we can go with that. So project 2. So project 1 and project 2. So we can see that one deployment concept. Deployment concept. So this deployment is nothing but actually CI and CD. Usually all developers will not do this one. So because this part will be taken by the DevOps team, but we can learn this one, CI and CD concept. This one will be added if you know that even migration. So the deployment concept also, if you know that it will be added value for you, your profile. So all this part actually, so we are going to learn this data engineer. Fine. Here, what is this our data factory tool? What is the data factory tool? Both apart, the data factory and then Databricks, both are actually, we are going to use it for that data transformation purpose only. We are going to use it actually, and the data migration from one environment to another environment. Actually, while we are doing the data migration, if need that any of the data transformation, we can do it. So why need? What is this transformation, or what is this migration? Some people also may come from that non-IT. Some people came from maybe from that IT. But I'm going to give that so details from the scratch only. Suppose if you know this concept now, just to take it as a refresh. Just take it as a refreshment session. Okay, fine. Now, what is this AD of Azure Data Factory? Azure. Hey, hey guys, are you facing that any audio problem?
From my side, no.
Then Ishwar, can you check that your audio? What about others? Am I clear to you all?
Yeah, yes, it's clear.
Then Ishwar, can you check your audio? Okay, let's continue. Fine. So here, what is Azure Data Factory? So in single word, if I want to tell what is Azure Data Factory, now this is nothing but this is a ETL tool or ELT tool. You can say either this ETL tool or ELT tool. Azure Data Factory and Azure Data Factory is the ALT tool or ETL tool. Usually, generally we will say that one ETL tool. So here in the current market, we are having different types of ETL tool. A simple example, we are having that Informatica, SSIS, data stage. So like this, we are having different types of ETL tools are available. ETL tools are available. This also ETL tools. This also ETL tool. Then what is the difference between this ETL tool and this ETL tool? See, this ETL tool we are using it for the cloud environment as well as the on-premises environment. So this ETL we can use it for that cloud environment. This ETL we can use it for the cloud environment. But this ETL, so we are going to use it for the on-premises environment. We are going to use it for the on-premises environment. So this is one for on-premises, and this is one for along with the on-premises. We can use it for the cloud especially. We can use it especially for the cloud. So these are the tools we can use it only for that on-premises environment. The ETL purpose you can use it, but only for that on-premises environment. But here, this one we are going to use it for that cloud. So far, as of now, this level comparison is enough. Later we will see that more. So Azure Data Factory and Informatica all are ETL tools only, but Informatica as a data stage, all are we are going to use it for that on-premises environment. Then this is the one we are going to use it for that cloud environment. That's it. Okay, fine. Now let's come to that one. What is the ETL first? What is the ETL? The ETL stands for extract, transformation, and load. ETL stands for extract, transformation, load. What is this extract? What is this transformation? What is this load? Here, just imagine I'm having that my business application. This is my business application. Just imagine this is my business application. Yeah, business application. We will have that some controls for entering the values to get the data from the users, right? So here, just imagine I'm having that my business application. From this business application, end users, they will send the data. They will send the data. So this is our business application. This application data, whenever that end user, they are sending their data, save or submit, when they are doing that save or submit, actual data, it will be stored in that your database. It will be stored in that database. So here, this is nothing but this is called a database. The database, it will be stored in that tabular format values. Database, it will be stored in that tabular format values. It will be stored in that table. Table, now rows and orders will be there. Rows and columns order will be there. So this is the data we are having, just imagine. So whenever you are entering the data from that your business application, so this data here, it will come and store into this environment. It will come and store in this environment. So this is our database. Okay. So this is one of the database storage. And here, this is the application. This is going to be have that your data. This is going to be have that your data. Just imagine this is our training institute website. This is our training institute. Who are all inquiring the course, they are inquiring through this application. So who are inquiring through the online, all the data, it will be stored into this here. At the same time, some people they are coming walking directly, they are coming and they are inquiring the details, right? So those details I'm keeping in that Excel. I'm keeping in that Excel. So here I'm going to store that all the walk-in inquiries details in my Excel file. So here we are having that Excel file, the data. The Excel also it will be the tabular format data only, right? So here I'm storing that my data. Here I'm storing, but this is also my data, my business data only. Here also I'm having my business data. Here also I'm having that my business data, right? So this is a walk-in data, I will have it. But here some students may give that full details, name, contact number, email ID, location, everything they may give it. When they're entering from that application, online application, some students, they may enter name and what is that one, phone number, email ID they may not mention. Okay. Sometimes they have entered, for example, I'm getting address details I'm getting from the student. They are entering the address like this one. So they're entering, so here, so number 12. So building name. So and street name, and area name. They are giving this all this data, so like a single value like this. The one text box, they're entering all these details like this. But so they are giving this address like this, their address. They are giving their address like this. But here, what is the problem? Suppose if I want to select the students list based on the area name or the city name. The city name actually I'm giving like this, or the city name. So I'm having the students from that Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, so Pune, Mumbai, Delhi, and all the cities actually I'm having the students. I have to get all the students who are all joining from that Hyderabad location. But I'm checking that address, but the address details are stored in this format because they have written so detail one all the detail in this single text box. Just imagine this text box we are using for address purpose. We are using address purpose. So address one, and I have given the detail separately for that city. Separately I have given that city, but some people they are entering the data, whole data like this inside of this one. Instead of writing the city name separately, they are writing this one. So this is not correct format, but we are having the data. We are having that city information, but it is not in the correct format. Actually, all these data are available in one single column now, so I cannot consider this value as a single value actually, because this is on multiple values we are having. This is not a proper format data. This is not a proper format data. So like this, we can get from that our front-end application or that our on that direct physical application. So you may get the data like this, business data. But in the current business, if you are keeping this data now, it is not easy to handle your data. Easy to handle. It is not easy to handle. So what we want to do, we want to make that our data as cleaned format data. We want to make that our data the cleaned formatted data, and we want to make that one our data in the proper structured format data, because some of the data it may not have that proper structure. You want to make that data in the proper structure, as well as that you want to make the data in the cleaned formatted data. So what I can do it. So I'm having that my business data, and see in the real-time environment, our data, so it will be like this. It will be like this, and also that our real-time environment, we are not sure we are going to use it only one database. We are not sure we are going to use it only one database. In the real-time scenario, there is a possibility for using that multiple database also. Different databases also possible. Different databases means like SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, Sybase, DB2, anything it might be that one. Or else you may have that your source, that Azure platform. You may have that your data in that Amazon platform, or you may have that your data in that your Snowflake. So anywhere you can have that your business data. You can have that your business data. So this is also possible. Now, so the actual business data, whatever they are getting from that application or that our working data, whatever the data, these all are that our business data only. But why we are keeping the two different storages now? Because the two different environment we are going to get the data, right? One is that we are going to get the data from that our online application. Another one is that we are going to get that working details. That's okay. But here we cannot say that one all the data will have that in the proper format and then proper inputs, the proper required data. We are not sure on that one, because at that time when they're coming in person, at that time what they're giving, we will take it immediately. We will not follow the proper format. So immediately what we will think, later we will correct it. In that way only will happen. In the business also it will have the data, so all the data are coming in that way only. So what we want to do here, in general, I'm talking about that one. In all the business, wherever they are storing the data, wherever they're using that data, the data they are generally they are getting it in this phase only. This one of this phase only they are getting the data. But even though they are getting the data into this type of storage environment, they are not storing that data permanently in that storage. Usually this is happening. They are not keeping that data permanently in that storage environment. The data actually they are moving into that one another storage environment. That another storage environment. This storage environment is nothing but so here this is called data warehouse. This is called data warehouse. So here, so we are using that one storage. This is called data warehouse. The data warehouse, okay. The data warehouse. Fine. Here, the data warehouse. Here also the data are going to be stored in the tablet format, tabular view only. Okay, so tabular format data is only going to be stored here. Here it is going to be stored in the tabular view only. So here also going to be stored in the tabular view. But here we will keep that all the historical data. Usually here we will not store that all the history data. That particular period business data only we will keep it. For example, last 1 month data. Last 1 month data. Every month data only it will be stored here. Once that next month started now, then this data will be moved into that your permanent storage environment where we are keeping that all the history data. This is called data warehouse. We have to move it. When we are moving the data, the data, we cannot expect all the data in that proper cleaned format and the proper expected structure and expected data types. Simple example, this data. So this data, if we want to make it as a cleaned format data, now how we can make it now? As of now, this data available like single column data, But this data, if you want to make it as a cleaned formatted data, now how we want to make it now? See here. So how we want to make it? See here. Here. It should be like this one. If this is our table now, this is going to be one column. And this is going to be that another column. And this is going to be that another column. Then this one going to be that your next column, final column. Now I'm having that my table. See here, this is my table data. See, this is one column. So this is another column, right? Here. Next row, it will be here like this. Next row, it will be here like this. It will be like this. So for every student details, it will be stored as one of the record in this format. And later, if I want to get that student details by the location, I can take it because the Hyderabad is a separate column. If I'm having that, if I want to get it from that area wise, yes, I can get it in pin code, everything I can do it, right? So this type of data, we have to make it into this type of format. This is called that cleaned format data, cleansing process or transformations. The transformations actually, so we are doing for this type of changes. If you actual data this is, but you want to do it that changes like this you want to do change. So here, if you want to do this type of changes now, what you need actually. So I need that one technical tool, right? Technology, I need it for this one. I need it one for that technology. Actually, it is called that one ETL. It is called ETL. The technology name is called ETL. So ETL. So here, just imagine that this is that ETL tool. This ETL tool, what can do? Here, that ETL now full form, what full form actually, the extract transformation load, right? Extracting data from that your sources where you are getting that your business data directly. Extracting data from sources. So extraction, this is the extraction. And the data, some data, it might be that expected format, and some data, it might be like this format, this unexpected format, that unstructured format. But when we are storing into that our destination, how we want to store it now, the cleaned format, like this type of format we want to use it, then only we can take it this one for that our data analysis purpose. The data analysis is very important. The data analysis is very important, because that based on the data analysis only that you are going to take the decision for the further level in that your business actually. Then data analysis, if you want to do that one, the data should be in that cleaned format, the data actually. So that data extract, we are going to do it. That means we are going to get the data from that our actual business storage where that data getting directly stored. And then we have to do the transformation. Transformation is nothing but so simple understanding. Now from this type of format, if you are changing into this type of format, now it is called a transformation. You know the transformation, right? So one structure to another structure. So the transformation here, we are going to do it using that our ETL tool. So the transformation, we will do it. If we are doing the transformation now, for example, this is our data, unstructured data. This data, if you are doing the transformation now, then after that one, it will be that one like this one. Each one value is a separate column. Then now I am having that cleaned format data. I have the cleaned format data. The cleaned format data actually, so I'm going to load it into that my data warehouse. So here I'm going to load the data. Here I'm going to load the data. Here I'm going to load the data. So here I'm going to load the data. So ETL, extracting data from that your source environment and doing that record transformation. And after the transformation, you are going to load that data into that your destination environment, right? So this is called ETL. This is called ETL. This is called ETL. Extract, transformation, load. Your data, you are loading into that your destination. That's it. But not you're loading the data directly. Before the loading data, you are doing some of the transformations, some of the changes you are doing based on that your business requirements. That type of changes actually here it is called ETL. The type of changes is called ETL, sorry, transformation. So ETL tools are need. ETL tools are need for this type of processing, the data movement. Okay. Now let's come to that our ETL tools. Already we have seen it that Informatica, SSIS, data stages. Okay. This type of using these tools, they are going to do this type of processing only, the data transformations, ETL processing only they are going to do. Okay. So here, but these tools, we are going to use it. We are going to use it for the on-premises environment. For the on-premises environment. But the same type of transformations or ETL task, if you want to do it for the cloud technology now, this tool will not help. This tool will not help. Then we have to go with that Azure Data Factory as well as that Azure Data Bricks. The Azure Data Factory, almost except the SQL query, almost 80–90% things we are going to work using that graphical way. Just a drag and drop. Azure Data Factory, just a minute. Yeah, continue. So here that Azure Data Factory. So using the Azure Data Factory, all the ETL processing, we can do it that graphical user interface way, that just drag and drop. So ADF, we are going to use it all. So graphical user interface features, just drag and drop. This when we are working with that big datas, some of the transformations, so we cannot do it in that ADF. So some limitation also is there. The performance, one major part is performance. When you are working with the so multi-millions data now, that time it might be that performance wise that some slowness might be there in that ADF. That time actually companies are preferring use that ADB, Databricks actually, Databricks, Azure Databricks. The Azure Databricks, this is the coding technology. This is the coding. But this code is actually so not like that one, the Java or .NET like that. This is the easiest learning technology, very easiest technology, because here actually we are going to use that one Python, which is very comfort and easy technology to learn, the coding perspective. Python and PySpark. PySpark also that part of that, actually this is nothing but combination of Python and Spark language. PySpark is a combination of Python feature also there, Spark feature also there. So single statements line only you can write it. Single line statements you can write it here, but it is easy learn. You don't worry about that one. So code technology means you don't think like this on Java.NET, like they have written the code in that 1,000 line, 10,000 line like that. See, simple understanding now for connection the data you want to write it here for selecting the data now you want to follow it at least 3 to 5 lines in that Java.NET. Here we can use it that only one line for selecting the data. So like that we are having that very short amount of codes only we are going to write it here in that PySpark, right? So using these two things, actually we are going to learn this our training, this Azure Data Engineer course, Azure Data Engineer, the cloud engineer, cloud data engineer, right?
Shiva, you mean Databricks also a kind of ETL tool like ADF?
The Databricks also we are using the transformation purpose only. Databricks we are going to use it primarily.
Okay, okay. The core
But code
functionalities.
basis.
Okay. What ADF will do the same, Databricks also do the same, right? But
Yes,
deal with
same
that.
thing we can do it. Extra also we can do.
Okay. But it deals with
What
the big data.
Yeah, deals with the big data.
Okay.
Whatever you are doing with the in the data ETL perspective in that our ADF, all the things you can do it in that data factory. Sorry, Databricks also. But the Databricks, so everything you have to write it code. So average medium level of projects that data who are handling now, those people directly they will use it only that ADF only because it's easy to develop actually and easy to handle. So all the users can work on that one. Simple data wise actually they will go that, and cost wise comparatively so it will be that some benefits are there. So that they are using. So but big data you are dealing now, then that time actually you have to go with both the part actually in the one projects are there now. So both the parts will be there. Data factory will be there. Data bricks also will be there. Sometimes they will allocate the task that ADF part alone that one developer and Databricks part alone the another developer. In some company they will allocate the task. So based on the resource availability. If you know that both the knowledge, if you are having that both the knowledge, they may allocate the task on one person like this.
Both are doing ETL only, ELT things only. Yeah.
Yes, ETL, data engineer primary part is ETL only, right?
Yes.
We are
Yes.
going to do that one, moving the data, migrating the data only, right? That is a major role for the data engineer, right?
Yeah. Understood.
Okay, so this is about that our course, actually what we are going to learn it. So this is about that our Azure data engineering course content, and here we are going to learn this one, the course content. Now this is the course content. Actually we are going to learn it, what is the Azure data factory, that introduction. So we will have that one, some important concept in this Azure data factory, we will see that one. So slowly we will start with that our detailed features, that one integration runtime. What is the meaning of the integration runtime in the Azure Data Factory? So multiple copy files copying. So all are we will see it in we will use it in that use case basically. All concept we will see it in that use case base only. So we are going to see that each one session actually it will be that one use cases actually. Okay. So don't worry about that one knowledge, experience knowledge. So because everything we are going to see it in that one. But in one small different, in the real time we will have that huge amount of data. But here we are going to have that some low amount of data. Okay, the data size only going to be different actually. But rest of the things, so the same, all the features whatever we are developing or whatever we are following in that live environment, the same method only we are going to follow it actually. So Python, so concept in the Python and database, Python actually we are going to cover it, and then Python basic concepts. So first, so 3-4 classes, so it will be that Python, and then Spark introduction will be there. So then we will go to that our Spark clusters, how we can create the Databricks and how we can create a Spark cluster, and all the Databricks variable switches types, Databricks notebooks parameters. So here different types of files, how we can read it using that our Databricks actually. So how again we can write it, and how we can connect with that our Azure SQL database. So how we can integrate that our Databricks with the data factory, because even though if you are writing the logic in that your Databricks, that Databricks you will call it into that data factory only, the data factory, or we will have that scheduling through the data factory only we will run it. So without using the data factory you are not going to develop anything. So data factory surely will be there actually. Implementing that type concept, SCD type 1 concept, that ADF, we will see that the same one how we can do it in that Azure data factory. So because either you may develop that logics using the data bricks, as well as you may develop using the data factory. So we will cover it into that same then in that our data bricks also. So it will be that actually. So once this content properly you completed now, so I can assure you, you will have that knowledge of that around 1-2 years if you work in that live environment now. So the knowledge what you are getting, so that much of knowledge, so that intermediate level knowledge strongly will have that one. I can assure that one actually. And exploring that technology, so it's your part. Okay. So now, so I'll show you that portal, that Azure portal. So here, so how we are going to do that one? The portal.azure.com is that our portal. Just I'll show that one small example in that Azure portal. Whatever I'm going to do it, just don't worry about that one. Whatever the components I'm creating, that all the components, why I'm creating, and how, why, and when we have to create all the things, I will explain that our regular session from the very scratch level. Don't worry about that one. So click the create. This is a storage environment I'm going to create to store that my file. So okay, resource group is need for me, and then blab storage is a need for me. Blab storage, Siva, then local. Each and every step you will get to know that one when you are attending that your regular session. Why this each steps we have to select it and which step and we have to select when. So all these steps actually you will get to know that one. Click the create. Fine. Then go to the another tab. Just I'm going to create the data factory. Storage is separate, allocated separate resource, and data factory is a separate resource. The data factory just I'm going to create it here. So here this one is fine. That Azure DF, okay. Then click OK. So click the create. Fine here. So I'm going to create the two containers. One container I'm going to use it for that input purpose. So here source or simple understanding, I'm giving the name like this input. And one more container output. So click the create. Here that input, just I'm going to have some of the files from my laptop local. From the local I'm going to upload some of the files. So here I'm having the two files. Yes. So in my input container I'm having this file, and output container I don't have any files. Now simple example, what I want to do now, I want to copy the file from this environment to and this environment. I want to copy it. So for what I want to do, just I'm going to define the logics. I'm going to develop that one pipeline. You can see that one. So without having that any this one writing code, so directly we can do it here. So here I'm going to create that record component. Some of the record components I have to create it. So one blob environment. Yes, this is the blob environment. Here, this is my blob. So don't worry about all of these selections, whatever I'm selecting and why I'm selecting. Yes, again I'm telling you. So all these things part you will learn it in that your regular sessions. Now just I'm showing that your demo so that I'm creating everything directly. I need some data sets for that my storage environment. Yes, click the continue. Where I'm having that source data, I'm having the source data and that my input. So header with the header files will be there. Then one more I'm going to create it for that same blob storage. Fine here. Okay. That this is the one. Okay. I'm going to create the pipeline. The simple way, use this is called activity actually, using this activity. So here what I'm going to do, the source I'm going to select, this is my source, input is my source. I need all the files here, simple one, that output, that's it. just to click the debug and go to your environment. It's queued now. It will come to the in progress and succeeded status. Here I don't have any files, so now I got it. So earlier I don't have any file, but now the output container I'm having the file, just 857, just now the 859, right? So I'm having this one, got it. So it's moved, the file got moved. So it's not moved, copied actually. The source also having that files copied. So the copied files copied from here to that environment. So this is the one of a simple example for moving the data from one environment to another environment using that our data factory. So without writing code actually, so all the transformations are here, maximum level we can do it. Then next level we will go with that one. So Databricks concept. Suppose if it is not possible here, now that time we will go with that our Databricks actually. So and performance wise, if you need that because of that data, that big data you are dealing now, then you have to go with that Databricks. Even the Databricks, if you want to call it now, you have to call it through the data factory only, because in the real-time environment scheduling jobs, we will do it using the data factory development only. Okay, fine. So that's all about that demonstration. So this is about that our training details, what we are going to cover it and how we are going to cover it. So this is what we are going to cover in that our regular training, that Azure data engineering, the content what we are having here. This is what the content we are going to have a coverage. So for completing this content, at least we need that. So 60 days around we need it. Yeah, it will be that around 60 days. That's all for the day. So now you can ask me that any clarifications.
Batch timings.
The timing actually, so you will get to the update. So properly, mostly we will plan it for that morning times only. We will plan it. Most probably it will be that 8 a.m. or 7 a.m.
Shiva, Sriram,
Yeah, Sriyam. Yeah.
uh, Shiva, as per your this demo, we got some clarity on this one, ADF and Databricks.
Yeah.
And you initially mentioned that Azure Data Factory made for particular cloud level. No? So what about the Informatica ISS, Intelligence Cloud? That also you are using the cloud. No? So any difference in
Informatica,
the cloud?
Informatica and SSIS actually. So here we are the data stages. All are we are using for that our on-premises environment only we are using. Using that
Okay.
one, if you want to move the data into the cloud environment, no, it is not possible.
IICS, I'm saying.
It is a cloud. I say it's cloud. It's a cloud Informatica, but you cannot use it for that one for all the cloud features.
Oh, okay. Coming to big data, you're saying particularly when the data is used, we are going to use Databricks. No?
Right.
So, I mean, big. So, I think whenever the source has a big data, the features are big data, use count. So we can call out, we can utilize the middle of the pipelines. I think pipelines is the flow in ADF. No,
We will
sorry
call
if
it.
I'm.
We will call it this logics in that our ADF. Correct. Middle of the flow. In the flow, whenever we need, we can call that one.
That is actual flow, or else we need to separately create a code for idea ADB. Is it what is the
No,
correct
the
one?
ADB is a separate resource in that Azure platform. You will write the logic. So which data you are having that big data. So that for that one, you will write the logic in that ADB notebook separately. That notebook, we will call it into that our Azure Data Factory. In the flow, business flow, when you want to call it, that time you will call it here.
Okay. One more thing. So I have doubt. See, the cloud side ADF is made for mm, big data, nothing but semi-structured, structured, and unstructured.
Hmm?
For everything, we can utilize the ADF compared to other tools.
Yeah, some limited, some level limit, we can do it.
So, what about the warehousing? See, in cloud side, some confusion is say Snowflake. But in case of ADF, we can see in compared to Informatica we can load source data from files or database tables, and we'll load data into data warehousing. The similar you are saying it also we can use as same similar flow, no? So
Yeah,
here
here
also
also we can. Here we are doing that. Our data warehousing snaps is there. So the Azure data warehousing snaps is there. So in the snap environment, we are going to load the data, and so Snowflake is the data warehouse only. So into that one also we can load the data. Even Redshift in the Azure Redshift is there. Amazon Redshift. It is the data warehouse in the Amazon platform. To that also we can load the data using this data factory.
I mean to say, can solely with ADF we can load data warehouse, or need to use other snaps or Snowflake like that? That is my question. Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't get it. It's clear. Question is not clear.
Informatica, through Informatica, we can load data, extract data from the table, and we can load data into data warehouse. The single line, single line of mapping we can do. Similarly, here also we can do our in the ADF. Apart from ADF, we need to use snaps for warehouse because I want to know the difference between snaps
ADF
versus
is
and
not a
ADF.
warehouse, right?
Yeah, directly we can provide data warehouse. ADF.
ADF is not a warehouse. ADF is the transformation tool, ETL tool, right? Still, I'm confusing your question. Actually, what is the exact what is question?
I mean to say, see, we have data warehousing. We can load data. I mean, data warehousing is not a database, so we can directly load data. So transformation data in a particular table directly in
Yeah,
the
right.
information.
We can.
Here also
We can.
do the same with the ADF.
Yeah, right.
Only no need to use other extra tools and for warehousing purpose.
For warehousing, but you don't want to use it anything extra here. Actually, directly using this ADF, you can load the data into that your warehouse directly.
Because why I'm asking you are showing some copy activity. Huh? With that copy activity, just we have loaded copy the data and loaded into particular another file folder. Huh? Such a feature is there, or we can do SD type
Yeah,
also
same
in
feature
ADF.
is available. Actually, here, just for the demonstration preparation, I have used that one, that simple storage environment. But like this, if you want to store the data, so you can store the data into that your database directly. If you are having that database directly, you can load the data using this data factory. And if you are having that data into that your Azure Amazon environment, then Amazon you can store it directly from this data factory. If you are having that data warehouse in that Snowflake, so directly using this ADF, you can load the data into that Snowflake. Suppose if you want to load the data into that your Cosmos DB from the ADF, yes, you can load the data directly into the Cosmos DB. Suppose if you want to load the data into that your Snaps environment, the data warehouse environment directly from that your ADF, yes, you can load the data into that ADF directly.
Okay.
You got it?
Got it.
So
Only
any
transformation level.
Transformation level features, actually, so we can do it everything here. The performance perspective, we need that. What is that one, that feature, the distribution features, we need it, and performance wise we need that more performance. That time actually we are going with the Spark, but same thing here also we can do it.
Okay. Got it.
Is it clear or not?
Okay, clear, sure. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Yeah, what about others? Any doubts? So anyone?
Coming to Python coding, at what level we need to learn the Python coding?
We need that, so basic to intermediate level.
Okay. Okay. Actually, that was covered into our syllabus, or we need to get it by
So the record level, it will be covered. That exploring part, that getting the experience on that one. So you have to learn. But the real-time development things, whatever we will cover it, that part actually it will be covered. but using that different scenarios, na, you can try that all the scenarios, whatever we are seeing in that our ADF, the same scenarios, you can try in that your ADF, ADB also, Databricks also.
You mean in Python is the end-to-end syllabus. In that particular area, we need to learn, right? For ADF, is it right?
The Databricks actually, so what knowledge we need the Python, that Python content it will be covered, and the data bricks PySpark part also we will cover how to connect with that our blob storage environment, how to connect with that our SQL environment. So this type of all the things actually we will use it, and how we can use that SQLs, that Spark SQL and Spark functions in that your what is that one the Databricks. So all the things actually, so we will cover it in that our session. For example, so if I want to get the read data from that my blob storage file na, yeah, that part actually we will cover it. So in that example, might be that we will have that file data, file record, file. So you can try with that using that. So different set of files. If I'm reading, I will show that file data using the CSV. So using the JSON, I will show that files actually. So the same type of files, so having some huge amount of data, you can try. So from that environment, suppose if I'm showing that example for the blob storages now, you can try for that data lake storage. You got my point, because both are same environment, same environment only. All right.
Okay.
Right. So
Yes.
that scenarios, use cases, you have to try more.
Okay, practice purpose.
That use cases, mostly I will cover it in that ADF. You got my point?
Sure.
The same use cases, if you are trying in that Databricks, I will give it to you clear detail, depth knowledge, I will give it to you. But use cases, na, you have to try.
Sure.
Okay, fine. Yeah, anything else from anyone? Lalit, is it clear to you all? Venkat, so Venkat only asked you now, right? Pavana.
Yeah, Pawan. It's Pawan.
Okay, fine. Pawan, you joined yesterday session, right?
Yes, Shiva. I joined yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, fine. What about Venkat? Venkat clear? Rajamani, Suresh, Abhishek? From the Agronics, who's joining? Suresh clear? Fine, Iswar clear? Okay, if no doubts now, then we can close the session. Any doubts? Okay, so thank you. So the next level discussion, actually you can connect with the institute and then you can get that update. Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.